Flames of War brings you the battles of World War II in epic 15mm scale. Go to the hub on beastsofwar.com to find news, tactics, and tutorials about the game. Venture into the dangerous dungeons of Myth as a mighty hero and stand against the darkness. Visit the Myth Hub on beastsofwar.com and begin your story.
Hello and happy Halloween weekend! It's Weekender time. This is a special Mythic Battles weekend. It's going to be... we're going to talk about more of that in a minute. And we have a fabulous interview with Leo from Mythic Games. Right, we have prizes galore in this weekend as well. We're giving away a Battle Systems fantasy terrain set. That's the Dungeons, guys. Mm-hmm. Oh, so good. So good. And we also have 2 copies of Conan we're going to give away. So 3 prizes.
Huge.
It breaks your arm lifting that.
It is gigantic.
Fabulous game. And more minis in it than you will ever know what to do with.
Well, we figured it out.
Well, yeah. Right. Okay. So we have, before we get stuck into Mythic Battle stuff, we've got a really cool piece to show you off. Justin, we're going to show off the foreground Dwarven Brewery. Yeah. Ben was waxing lyrical about this a couple of weeks ago, and now we actually have it in the flesh.
Yeah, and I'm sure Ben's kicking himself that he's not here to actually see this thing, because it's absolutely
one of those
gorgeous.
things would be nice to see in front of me, but you never know. Well, I might get my hands on one.
I actually love the design of these things because I also want to actually steampunk these up with some add-on pieces.
Yeah.
All right, so if we take a look at it, so you see where all the little bottom bits are here. I'm going to get watch parts, magnetize them, and pop them on there. But actually,
whoa. Hang on a second, though.
Yeah.
You're going to magnetize them?
Yeah.
Okay. To magnetize to MDF?
No.
Because if you reverse the polarity on them, that will totally work. You know,
1 mil magnets.
Uh-huh.
Bore a 1 mil hole into the MDF, pop it in there with super glue, and then it'll pop on.
I have an even easier way and a much more steampunk way of doing it. Just get yourself a big-ass electromagnet, right? And stick it in the middle of the building. Turn it on.
Yeah.
And then anything you want will stick to it then. You could roll it in watch parts.
Makes all the machinery work in there as well at the same time.
Show us the damn building, Justin.
Right. So spin around. You've got your big barrel.
Yes.
You've got little steps, obviously. You have to get up into the top floor where all the brewing equipment is.
No, hang on.
So all of your vats and...
Oh, God, that looks brilliant in the flesh, doesn't it?
Yeah. Really nice.
And this is exactly as it comes in the kit. We haven't touched anything on this. With no additional painting, nothing like that.
No additional weathering, no nothing. And then, of course, being a Dwarven brewery...
Yep, there we go.
You obviously have to have a bar.
Oh, so there's a pub on the lower floor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I love, right? If you zoom in a little bit, I love all these wee Dwarven tapestries. I think of it, like this one here, telling the story of Dwarven battles. Ben, tell me, right? What do we know about dwarves and beer? You know, they're two very common themes.
Ale, not beer.
Well, ale then. Well, what's like? Is there anything like interesting behind the whole Dwarven ale thing?
I think when it comes to dwarves and ale, I think that was something that came about when we started to see them ingratiated a lot into actual fantasy worlds, like Lord of the Rings and things like that. Because I think to begin with, there wasn't really much of a sort of connection between the two of them. I mean, going back to the olden times when they would have been like included in Viking mythology, that's where all the smithing side of things comes from and things like that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the beer, I think that was something that came across, as I say, through the likes of Lord of the Rings and all those kind of fantasy adventures where, you know, it was told that the dwarves sort of drowned their sorrows in their beer and stuff like that. So I think that's more of a sort of slightly more modern take on dwarves, I think. But,
yeah. Well, it's out now. Can you put it back together just on camera so as we can see again, Justin?
This will hook in through here. And then our rooftop. The roof's actually really cleverly designed.
Yeah. That's a beautiful piece. That is a beautiful piece. I'm also really liking these kinds of the little dwarven
faces and stuff.
And stuff over it.
Yeah, but it's the fact that they've even designed it. The chimneys match up with the fireplaces down on the ground floor. which is a nice touch.
Do they actually line up?
Yeah, all right, so you have one here, right?
Yeah.
So if I lift this off again, go to the long camera, and down the bottom here, we have fireplace.
Ah.
And then on the next floor up, we have one of the brewing vats. And if you look at the wall, you can actually see the chimneys going up through here.
Turn it around.
So you've got your brewing vat.
Ah, so it's...
And then here in the wall, you can see the slot where the chimney's actually coming up through, right here. And then it all lines up.
These foreground guys are smart, aren't they?
There's an attention to detail which is just fantastic for these guys, and this looks like it would be a great fun to put together. Right.
Anyway, it's out now. If you're a fan of your dwarves or your fantasy, be sure and go and check out the entire range of dwarven buildings that's building up there. Right. Some things to catch up on, okay? This week we had a Dropfleet Commander Demo Game.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get to play against Dave from Hawk War Games himself. I will put this out there now. We did sort out how close action weapons work. We did make one faux pas in the video. Whenever you're coming up out of atmosphere, you lose 4 inches of thrust.
Of course you do.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Everybody knows that, Justin.
It's just one of those things.
So did you give Dave an extra 4 inches then during that?
No, I got the extra 4 inches.
You got the extra 4 inches.
Yeah,
all right, okay.
So I took it without meaning to. I'm sorry. It happens. It happens because it's a new game. Everybody's learning. Although I have discovered one thing that I really like about the game: nukes.
Nukes.
There are nukes in the game.
All right, tell me how they work.
Basically, any ship of a medium or larger class can fire a nuke down onto a cluster.
Yeah.
And actually destroy one of the sectors in there. But you can take minuses and stuff because you're trying to retake the world. You're trying to keep the world. But as a last-ditch effort to actually knock someone out of a position, drop a nuke.
It's the only way to be sure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, in interesting news this week, the Russians announced their new nuclear warhead called the Satan II.
Satan II.
Wow.
Yep. Now, we've done a piece in the past on the weekend or during the whole build-up to Team Yankee. Do you remember I did my educational piece where I had the radiuses and stuff like that there on the screen?
I remember.
The Satan II, what do you think its blast radius is, according to the reports?
All right, now I have no idea what the standard blast radius of a nuke is, right? So I'm taking a shot in the dark here. I'm going to say 3 miles.
3 miles. The Satan II apparently could destroy the entire of the UK.
Oh.
Wow.
The Satan II could destroy France, and the Satan II could destroy Texas. And the other interesting thing about the Satan II is the rocket that it's actually on is designed to go hypersonic kind of thing, and it's designed to vary its flight path so that it can't be taken out by countermeasures.
That is horrifyingly scary.
Wow.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah.
I want to know what
I've got to say, Ben, the conspiracy theorist in me is flashing up the whole Saddam 45 minutes claim again. I do wonder if there's a little bit of the old stern and egging it on a little bit. Yeah. But it's. But here's the thing, right? And it's the one question that I've been asking myself. Even if I had a weapon like that, okay, and I have a fairly mighty weapon. Yeah. But if I had a weapon as mighty as that, how could you possibly use it?
You couldn't. The threat of its use more than anything. It's
but seriously, there comes a point where a weapon is so destructive that even the threat of it is hilarious. Because how could you not basically destroy your allies at the same time? Like, because it's where are you going to drop something like that and not catch stuff you don't want to catch?
Depending on how soon it would be fired, they might shoot it at Asgardia.
Oh, Asgardia!
I've actually been accepted as a citizen.
Yes, you are now officially an Asgardian.
Yep.
Are you happy? You and must be 200,000 other people.
No, it's more than that. There's almost 500,000 of us.
Is there 500,000 Asgardians in the world now? Oh my word!
Yeah. Do you want to know the one thing I'm worried about?
What?
I don't want them to charge me tax.
No, it's going to be a tax haven apparently.
Lovely.
So as an Asgardian, you will actually pay less tax or potentially no tax.
Awesome.
So and you have the opportunity to travel to the Asgardian or Asgardia whenever it's actually built.
Yeah.
But remember, Justin, you were probably one of the first 1,000 people.
Yeah.
So you're an early Asgardian in the whole thing. It's
one of the original Asgardians. Yeah.
Yeah. So while we're under threat of the whole Satan II, I decided all we've got left to do is just a hobby. No, I'm going to stick with my nationalities as they are. The whole Asgardia thing, you know, it's a bit too out there for me.
Technically, I'm now trinational.
You're technically trinational. Okay. In other news, we had the Edge Dawnfall, a Let's Play, yes. Justin. So, tell us a bit about that.
It's currently running on Kickstarter. Very, very fun game, and it's a really cool world that it's in. So it's sort of like a steampunk world where you've got demons and stuff coming in to actually, you know, the demons' planet's dying, so they're coming to our world to try and claim it. Yeah. Humanity obviously sees demons, they think
it's
evil.
Not steampunk though, it's sci-fi.
It is. No, it's steampunk. I've been reading up on it.
Really?
It is.
Okay.
But no, myself and John actually got to sit down and play through the mechanics of it. Yeah. And I've seen one or two people say they think the mechanics are a little complicated. It's really not, because the movement mechanics are stripped down to the very bones. Mm-hmm. You've got a very simple dice mechanic to actually do your fighting and stuff. Yeah. The real depth comes in from your tactics cards that you're drawing for each of your units.
And all the rules are on the cards.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And everything's really straightforward on the cards.
So it's one of those games that it evolves as you play it, you know, so by just lifting the cards, taking the time to look through your cards.
Yes, learning what your force can do, because there are 6 factions that you can go for now as well. So you're going to have 6 very distinct playstyles, which are going to be cool. Awesome.
Obviously, then this weekend is the Mythic Battles weekend. We have an interview today in this show, and then tomorrow we have myself and Justin are going to battle it out on a demo game. Mm-hmm. And then in tomorrow's backstage, we're going to sit down with Leo to discuss an after-action report to talk about the tactics and stuff that we're hoping to use in that game.
Has it kicked off on Kickstarter just yet, or is it just about to go?
It's kicking off next week.
Right, so keep your eyes peeled.
Monday, I think it's the 1st of November, which is Tuesday.
I think.
Okay, so Tuesday, I think it's Tuesday about 8 p.m., mm-hmm. It's kicking off. Now, I've got to say, you'll hear us talking about it a bit later in the show when we get Leo in, but I am utterly, utterly blown away by this game. I'm having withdrawal symptoms right now from not playing the game.
It's one of those games that jumps out at you and screams, "Play me!"
Well, it's interesting because we watched the build-up to this game coming through the news flow. And my initial, and I wonder how many of you guys feel the same. My initial thing of it was, there's some cool Greek gods. They're kind of doing a Pantheon of the gods kind of a thing. And I immediately kind of just thought, you know, it's all Greek mythology. It's interesting, but it hadn't grabbed me or shook me around or anything. I just thought, they're cool minis. Yet whenever you hear in this interview the backstory to this, there's 3 things that grab me about this game. One, the backstory made it immediately engaging for me. The whole idea that the Titans and the gods had already beat the crap out of each other, and that this was basically the early stages of the whole Pantheon of the gods being re-established, and they're fighting to try and establish their dominance. Yeah, it suddenly made perfect sense of why you would have gods, and these gods would recruit these heroes who have managed to climb out of the Hades. Yes, so they've climbed out of the underworld. It just made sense. Secondly, the mechanics of this game are fabulous. It's a game that just plays so easily, and you know, within 1 or 2 games, you're already starting to get the tactical grasp of what you can do in this game. It's the mechanics of it are impeccable. They're that good.
It's the meta. We'll talk about it later, but it's that whole mechanic at the start where you're not going to have someone that's just constantly taking the same stuff and you're constantly getting hammered by the same stuff. It's that real switch up you're getting from it.
Yeah, the whole way, we'll talk about it a bit later, but the draft mechanic.
Beautiful.
Organized play. This is a game that I can see clubs, stores all over the world just having regular play in, because I can just see people getting together because it's just so well thought out. As he says, the meta, the way this game plays out with the drafting and stuff. Watch the interview. Honestly, watch the interview. This game, I've been blown away by it. Absolutely blown away.
Yeah, and just to make sure everyone understands, the demo game that's going out on Sunday is going to be front stage.
Yep, the demo game is for absolutely everybody. It'll be out 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then at the same time we'll be putting out our XLBS, which is the extra long backstage version of this show.
Yep.
Where myself and Justin will be sitting down after the game to talk with Leo and to talk tactically about our approach to the game, and just to try and really dig under the surface of the game and to talk about our experience of it. But in a nutshell, guys, whether you watch that or not, it was fabulous. Yes. Absolutely fabulous.
Yes.
On the topic of fabulous games, on Monday for Halloween, we have a real treat for you guys as well, because the first of a new mini-series where myself and Justin and Chris from Darker Days Radio start our adventures in Kingdom Death Monster.
Yes, I've been waiting to play it for so long.
So we have a handful of Lantern Years already in the can. The first one goes out at Halloween, and then the next ones we're going to put out just around the same time as the second run Kickstarter for Kingdom Death Monster. So you can join us on our journey through the darkness with the faces in the ground.
Honestly, I love the fact that Kingdom Death is coming back to Kickstarter for another run, because it's the one that got away from me. I looked at it at the time, thought it looked gorgeous, didn't click that button.
Yeah, a lot of people were in that boat. And I've got to say, Ben, this mini-series that's coming up is really interesting, because what I found interesting watching it back as the guys were starting to run it through the whole editing process was how myself and Justin kind of started out a little bit lost. I actually felt like a survivor, just that little bit lost, just that unsure of what was going on. But by the time we've reached our fourth Lantern Year, suddenly this game clicks, and we start to understand. Well, hang on a second. This is not about me. This is about the survival of our people. Yes. This is not about individuals. This is about building a community. And suddenly, all my talk recently of what are the best Survivor games, I think I've just played it. I think it's also
the morality that's mixed into that game as well. It makes it fantastic to see which way your society is going to go.
Yeah, it sounds like a very good survival horror.
We'll have to get you again
game
whenever you're over, Ben.
So.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So keep an eye out on Monday, where we begin our tour through Kingdom Death Monster. Right, Ben. We in a little bit of community news, we have the "What Are You Painting Now" celebrations and a little awards thing running.
Yeah, so caladors, who runs that massive thread in the Hobby and Painting Forum, has put together a sort of celebration of it reaching the 4,000 posts mark. So he's going to be he's put up a whole different selection of categories, including Best Painted Miniature, Best Scenic Shot, Best Contributor, and also Most Improved as well, for those kind of people who are looking to sort of maybe not be on the best side of the painting, but they've suddenly sort of grown their skills and things over the period of the thread. He's going to be offering a range of different prizes as well from his own collection. So yeah, it's really good. Go and vote for that and sort of show your support for the forum and all the things we do when it comes to showing off painting and everything like that. So
if you go back to the page there for me, Justin, just click on Best Painted Miniature there.
I'll open up the
because
new tab for us.
I believe he's got it linked through to, if you click Let's Get Started.
Okay.
You can just give happy faces. So you can actually give it get right. That one's brilliant. Give that a full 10. All right. Yeah, he gets a 9. Give him a 9.
9?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so on and so forth. So you can have a lot of fun working your way through that.
I'm doing for the rest of the show.
Okay. Other things to bear in mind is Hobbyween ends on Monday. Okay. Yep. We have you got Hobbyween up there?
No.
Okay. Well, Hobbyween has 4 categories. There's the best painted miniature. There's the best kind of kit bash. There's the best piece of hobby or Halloweeny kind of terrain, and then the important one, best pumpkin carving. Okay, so guys, this is your chance. You have a couple of days because it doesn't take long to carve a pumpkin. So go get your pumpkin or your butternut squash or whatever you're into, and get it carved and get it up in the forums. So as we can all have a bit of crack with the whole pumpkin carving this year.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to see somebody carve a pumpkin with the face in the shape of a space marine. I think that would be kind of cool. So if you have the pumpkin talent to do that, stick it up in the forums.
I think one of the favorite pumpkins I ever saw was someone actually carved it up, and it was this sad face, mouth agape, and just the innards going out from the mouth.
Yeah, like it's vomiting. Yeah, lovely, lovely. And then finally, we have the freshwater terrain challenge, which we're going to really start ramping up on, because it now finishes at the end of November. So you have 4 weeks now to get into that. That's in conjunction with the terrain tutor, terrainaholic, and of course Foreground. And there's 50 quid vouchers to be won in that. Mm-hmm. And we have, 4 categories. Mm-hmm. We have, let me get this off the top of my head. Right. So we have best idea.
Yep.
So it's not about the execution of your terrain piece. It's about the idea behind it. Is the idea good? It doesn't matter how well you do it, because we want everybody to have a go at this terrain building. Yep. So even if you think, I'm not great at terrain, this is not about that. It's about getting in and getting stuck in and making some terrain together. We then have the best executed terrain piece, where it's not about the originality of the idea. It is for the guys who know what they're doing and want to enter that category and say, I have some serious terrain chops, and I'm going to show you. We have the best project blog. Okay, so the idea is to enter, you open up a forum topic, you mark it as terrain challenge, or Lance will have the instructions there on what you're supposed to do, and then you document it as you go along, and you put up photographs of what you're doing and little descriptions. And the most well-rounded project blog, they will be entered in, and then there'll be one winner of that category as well. And then we have the young bloods, the young beasts, and that's if you're 16 or under. Make sure and let us know, because you'll be entered into that separate category of its own, and you could be a winner of a £50 voucher as well. So we have 4 £50 vouchers, and then we have the 5th category, which is the ultimate terrain maker, which is kind of the choice of the judges, and the judges are some of us from An Invasive War, Mel the Terrain Tutor, Bill the Terrainaholic, and the guys from Foreground. And you will also be a winner, and you'll go forward to the end of year awards. There'll only be a couple of you this year, but we'll be voting then to see which of you guys gets an award at the end of the year. Right. To recap on the prizes. Our winners from last week, we were giving away an Army Painter Mega Paint Set.
So that's the 50 paint set.
The 50 paint set. And who was our winner?
Our winner is... where did I put this? Right. It's Engine Seer from Beasts of War.
Well done, Engine Seer. Hit the contact us and claim your prize. And then we also gave away the Battle Systems City Block. And who was the winner of that?
Our winner is John Wilson from YouTube. So, John, make sure and come across to beastsofwar.com to claim your prize. It's up in the top right corner under Contact Us. Okay, mate?
Okay. Right. This week's prizes, just to recap, we have 2 copies of Conan. So there'll be 2 individual winners picked for that. And we also have a Battle Systems Fantasy Dungeon. Okay, so there'll be 3 winners selected, and we'll be selecting at random from comments here on beastsofwar.com, comments on YouTube, and comments on Facebook on the corresponding post. While I'm on the topic of Battle Systems are going through a Kickstarter at the moment, and they just had an update that just absolutely blew me away. This is what they call the Arrival Bay, so check this out. Ben, it's amazing.
Yeah, so this is a whole bunch of extra bits of terrain and things like that are effectively creating a rib structure that you can then bolt all the other bits and pieces from the Battle Systems range onto to create, as you say, an arrival bay, a docking bay, something that's like, on the side of a starship and things like that, where the ships come in and dock for shuttles and stuff. But yeah, this is absolutely fantastic and just adds to the crazy amount of different things you can do with this battle system set. So yeah, really nice, and some good little props and stuff in there as well. I
love the picture with the Star Wars minis in it. It's just like because as soon as I saw the first pictures, I thought to myself, I want that for some of our Star Wars stuff. And then to see that they had already done it, it's just fab, absolutely fab.
See, I like the fact that they've even designed little step ladders that you can put up onto the side of your vehicles.
Yeah.
To actually have your miniatures as if they could get up in. It's very cool.
Well, one of the interesting things is if you go back.
Yep. Which image do you want?
So just go back to an image. Up. Keep going. There, that one. Right. So so that image there, you'll notice that the viewing galleries are at the top. Okay. Yes. Now I don't know if Ben has put them in, but if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you can keep going. I'll tell you when to stop. Keep going. Oh, he hasn't put them in. But on the Kickstarter page, they did a great thing where they actually put those at the bottom. Okay. So they were able to reorganize them. And
cool.
it just the flexibility of that terrain. I just love the fact you just pull it out, piece it all together.
Hang on.
Okay. If you scroll down, keep going.
Scrolling.
Keep going. Oh, have we missed it? Keep going, Justin. You're nearly there. Oh, the excitement. Oh, it's not there either. Pants. Okay. Beaten again. But have a look around the Kickstarter because they do have some images where they've kind of did it the opposite way. So your viewing galleries are at the bottom, angled in the other direction.
I will say this: the Kickstarter is 5 times funded.
Yes.
That's going to be some amazing stretch goals. People are going to be able to lay their hands on.
Oh, they're unlocking stuff on that Kickstarter, left, right, and center. So if you've, and it's so much fun. If you've never been on a Battle Systems Kickstarter, go over and pledge that because the crack in the comments is just unreal. It really is. They've built up this fabulous community. And they do this Kickstarter once a year. And I don't know what those poor guys do for the rest of the year. They must sit and bite their nails going, withdrawal symptoms. I need to get back in on that Kickstarter. Because they are fabulous. As Kickstarter communities go, we know sometimes they can be, they can be a bit rough Kickstarter communities, but the Battle Systems Kickstarter community are fabulous guys. And they just have so much fun in the comments and stuff there. So if you're looking for a week or two's entertainment, it's worth going and checking that out. Right. I think it's time for us to sit down with Leo and get this show on the road. Yeah. Right. We want to tell you about Mythic Battles. It's the whole purpose of this weekend. Trust me, you'll want to watch this. We'll be right back after we tell you about some hubs.
From Viking halls to the cities of the future, terrain buffs will love our foreground hub. Watch gaming tables of all genres come to life at beastsofwar.com. Progress comes to a world of magic as science and the arcane combine to make marvels. Meet steampunk inventors and orc mystics at the Volsung Hub on beastsofwar.com.
Hi guys, so we are joined by Leo from Mythic Games. Leo, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello.
So we're going to unleash Mythic Battles Pantheon upon you. This has got to be one of the most extraordinary Kickstarters I have ever seen. This will blow your minds.
3 words. I'm in love.
Oh, due early November, produced in partnership with Monolith, the guys behind Conan. If you thought Conan was good, well, you got a load of this. Right. Leo, Mythic Battles Pantheon, this is based in kind of like the Greek mythology, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you give us a bit of a rundown on, before we get stuck into artwork and stuff like that there, on what the backstory is? What is the world today that players are going to find themselves playing in?
So, as you said, it's based on Greek mythology, and all of us know about Greek mythology. So everything you know about it is true and happened. What we don't know is what happened next, and this is what the game is about. And what happened next is there was a big catastrophe. Hera, and we'll see that why she did that, but Hera unleashed the Titans, who were locked in Tartar, and they launched a massive attack on Olympus. The only way the gods could defend themselves was together, so they all united, and gods were not always united.
Yes.
No. So, but for this time, it was a matter of life or death. And so they united and they defeated the Titans. We don't know what happened to them, but they were defeated. But the gods paid the price. A lot of them died. And when they die, they transform into a form of crystallized energy.
Yeah.
This is called omphalos. So this is a term. And and they also went into, well, there was a big explosion because, gods and titans are made of opposite energies, like gods of matter and titans are antimatter. So when you have a big concentration of matter and antimatter, what happens?
It annihilates.
And it scatters every last fragment of the dead gods all across the world.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And so the gods went into a form of coma, and all the Umphalos, those gems, were scattered all over the world. So because of this big explosion, 90% of the population was killed and everything was destroyed. It was ravaged. But there is hope because the gods finally awoke, and we will play one god. This is the purpose of the game. You play a god who just awoke, and you will gather a team of fighters because you know that those Umphalos, you can sense them, you can feel them. They are the relics of your dead brothers, right? And you're attracted to them. But when you can even absorb them. When you absorb them, you gain back a little bit of your lost powers because you just went into a coma. You're now a mortal god. You can be killed. You're still much more powerful than any human, but you're not all powerful.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that's kind of what we're seeing here is one of the gods has began to gather up some followers. So who are we seeing here?
Yeah. And this is a typical warband in the game. This is actually a 12-point warband. We'll get to that. And you can see, so you play a god, in this case Athena.
Yeah.
She recruited Hydra. She recruited Achilles, the guy looking on to his side. Odysseus, the cunning, clever guy.
Yeah.
And then some hoplites. And they are just, it's before going to battle. And they realize that they are going somewhere where they are Umphalos, but someone else is also there.
Oh, up in the mountains, you can see that's got to be Zeus, you would imagine, So
speaking of Zeus, I'm guessing he's really not going to hang around whenever other gods can be running around gaining power, because he was the top dog on Olympus. So he's not really going to let someone like Hades jump up and go, "Oh no, I'm king now."
Well, let's start to browse through the artwork as we speak, and because we've also got minis to show you as well. So this is Zeus. Can you tell us a little bit about the artwork, Leo? And
sure. So this piece of artwork was drawn by Stefan Kopinski, that many people know for his work at Games Workshop, but many other games too. So we wanted to depict him as recognizable, but still in a modern style, So he used to be the king of gods, as you said, and he no longer is. The one who will be able to absorb enough Umphalos to gain their power back will become the new king of gods, and they can create their own Pantheon, which is hence the name of the game.
Yeah, we have the model here. So would you get a look at this?
There, let me move this out of the way just so I can get my hands at it. So this is Zeus, yeah?
Yeah.
He's looking absolutely fantastic with just that little bit of crackling lightning between his fingertips. You can see there, massive shield and stuff. And we're actually lucky enough that you've actually brought along.
And the gods are big. They are twice the size as humans. And
well, actually, I can drop a human in here so that you can get a sense of the scale.
We have a little Spartan. Fantastic looking, though. I mean, like,
it's just
the details that you've managed to capture within these miniatures is just absolutely glorious. It has that sense of this is a god walking upon the battlefield, ready to basically gather as much energy as he can and take back Olympus.
What kind of things can we expect Zeus to do on the tabletop, though, Leo?
He's a very balanced character. He's strong, he's resistant, and he has the strongest distance ranged attack in the game. Lightning will just do like terrible things, but it's costly, so you need to use it wisely.
Well, I mean, like we did get to play a game off camera. Lloyd was controlling Zeus.
Yeah. And he did a lightning attack in a zone.
It was just that moment of, by the way, have a bad day, zap.
It was, we had a whole bunch of characters that had all congregated in one zone. They were beating the hell out of each other, and then Lloyd in his Zeus-like fashion decided, I'm just going to lob lightning in there.
Yeah.
And it was devastating.
Yeah, but the really funny thing was, he fires into it, he's on a team with you, and it's just like, no, I don't care that Warren's playing Hades. Zap. Hits all of our stuff for me and Lance, and then hits you as well.
Yeah, but I've got to say, at that moment, I didn't care either. I wanted to see it, and then once it started taking effect in on all of the miniatures and stuff that were in that zone, I was like, oh, this is just mad. It was brilliant.
It's what I love. Playing the gods on the tabletop, actually, they feel like gods. They're not just some big superpowered guy. No, this is a god.
Yeah.
It's...
Okay, what have we got next then?
Okay, let's call up one of the big beasties, shall we? Because there's one character from this universe that I love more than any other. And it's, of course, the puppy himself, Cerberus.
Absolutely.
So this is the guardian to the pits of Hades, you know, and I'm guessing now that Hades himself is probably out and about gathering Omphalos, the puppy's been let off the leash and is fit to run about and do his own thing.
Well, this actually leads me to a question that I had was, obviously we know the story of the gods now, but obviously the gods are able to recruit these monsters, and more importantly, they're able to recruit these heroes like Achilles and stuff like that. How did that come about? Were these guys not dead?
Yes, well, they are dead. And what happens when you die in Greek mythos? Well, you go to the underworld, and you have three separate places. You have Tartar, where the monsters are, and the Titans, that is where they were locked. You have Elysium, this is where the biggest heroes go, and then you have a normal place for the average Joes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, because Hades had to come and fight with the other gods, no one was watching the underworld. So, first, when the Titans were released, all the monsters were released too, right? So this is why Hydra or Medusa or all the famous monsters just were reborn.
Yeah.
And including Cerberus, who was free to leave, and he wanted to see where his master was,
Yeah.
And the heroes, they could climb up the river Styx. And they managed, and it took them a long time. And when they finally get out and are reborn, this is when the gods wake up again after their coma.
Right.
Okay, so there is hope in this world. It's a destroyed world. It's a chaotic world, but there is hope because the surviving people can see the gods among them, and they can see the greatest heroes in history reborn.
So hope, and from the game we played, a whole lot of ass kicking as well.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at Cerberus. So we have the miniature here.
It's such a fantastic rendition of this creature.
Brilliant. Again, let me drop in our little human just so as you can get a sense of scale here.
Yeah, Cerberus is a very, very big pup, but we also have a painted version.
Painted by Martin Grandbarbe, who is a famous French painter. We have two painters.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic. It looks so mean, and it feels like the actual character from mythology.
Let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit, because I particularly love the strapping that has been used in the past to contain him. It's just extraordinary miniatures.
Well, I mean, they jump off the tabletop at you. There's nothing static about this. This feels like Cerberus, again, charging up the battlefield, ready to bite someone's head off and cast them back into the underworld.
And he's a very powerful beast, too.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the only monster that can protect also. So he's good at attacking, and he can attack up to 3 units. You wonder why?
Yeah.
And he can also protect a god or any kind of unit. Well, I
played with this miniature. He was in my team, and I got to say he was fabulous because while Hades was everybody wanted to target him, Cerberus just soaked up all that damage.
Well, I mean, look,
and then when he got the chance, the 3 attacks, he also breathes fire.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow. Yeah. It really,
and
really good.
He didn't die.
No, he didn't die. Not at all.
He did get thrown around the arena a bit.
Another beautiful mechanic in this game is things get thrown around. You know, terrain gets thrown, characters get thrown. It's so cinematic. It really is. Okay, who do we have up here then?
This is a hero. Well, we mentioned that the monsters escaped the underworld and the heroes managed their way through. And Odysseus. This is Odysseus, the famous, cunning, intelligent guy. So he's, well, you know, he was in Troy with Achilles, and then he had his famous Odyssey. And he's back here. And he's the most intelligent character of the game. He brings 3 Art of War cards to your deck. We'll get to that. And he has a bow, so he has a ranged attack, which is interesting in this game. And well, he can do many combos.
Yeah. Now, Art of War. Just before we get into it, I want to try and describe some of the gameplay as we go. Bear in mind, if we haven't already put it out, there will be an actual playthrough video very shortly. But Art of War is a bit like a mana. It's a kind of, it's a card that can unlock your ability to do things with your deck. Right. It can unlock special abilities of the characters. So it's these Art of War cards are in fairly short supply, but you know there are ways and means that you can engineer your draft to try and see if you can get more of them into your deck.
Absolutely.
Well, just to show everyone. Very quickly, I'll grab one of the characters' sets of cards here, because every time at the start of the game you're drafting, you're gaining a set of cards which actually give you the activations for your hero, right?
Yeah.
And some of them grant you these, which are your Art of War cards.
Yes.
For me, these are sort of that heroic push moment,
Yes.
you know, so you can actually throw one of them in to get something extra to happen,
Yeah.
you know, which is the way those work, or at least that's what I think.
Okay, we have the miniature of
Odysseus here.
Of Odysseus, there he is.
We don't have a painted version just yet, unfortunately, but he does look really nice. I mean, like, I played him in the game, and the feeling he gives is just that master strategist, you know, that ability to control the other units around the table really, really well and just make them extra heroic.
Now, at this stage, I can hear our viewers saying, are the miniatures really going to look like that? So maybe we'll just quickly put them out of their misery and show them, yes, they will. So we have
Spartans.
3 miniatures here. This is the same guy. This is a Spartan. Okay. So, Leo.
Actually, let's bring in a 4th.
Okay. Leo, if you tell us about these guys.
Yeah,
okay?
Sure. Well, this one is the resin version. This one is the painted resin version. This one is the plastic version, the way it will be in the box. And this is the painted one.
Yeah, so resin version.
Yep.
Move him away. Painted resin version.
Yep.
Plastic version with exactly the same level of detail. He's slightly smaller.
Yes, but it was meant to be. And this is the painted plastic. So the painted plastic versus.
If we put the two painted miniatures together there, and if you rotate them, Justin, just so as people can see.
Yeah.
Now the reason that there's a scale difference is because the resin masters and things like that are maybe made slightly larger. Plastic also contracts.
Yes.
As part of the
There's
production
restraint.
process. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
And 6% approximately.
Yeah.
So we sculpted them a little higher.
Yes.
So that in the end they were 32 millimeters, and this is what they are.
So this is
gorgeous.
the final scale,
Yes.
32 millimeter miniature, and we have been looking up close at these, and there is no difference in detail between it and the resin miniatures.
You've been looking up close. I've been trying not to drool on these. They're that lovely.
And they will come in the box pre-assembled.
Yes.
One piece miniatures. You know, this is a game that is just going to be ready to play.
Pre-assembled, and there's something I can mention also because this is new from what I know. You see, we have lots of weapons like thin and long weapons like spears or
like
spears
so
or or swords, or
Yeah.
you see, like those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or these one, you see. So we don't want them to be. We want them to be really
Straight. Yes.
So we will have them in ABS instead of PVC, and they will be glued together and assembled before we do. So we are sure that it will be perfectly straight. And it's the first time. It will not be 100% PVC. It will be PVC plus ABS for the weapons.
That is a nice detail.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Right. So this is. Let me bring up the artwork.
Yeah.
This is the artwork of the actual Spartan.
Yeah.
There, and as you can see, from the miniatures themselves, he's
they're
just
gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
There's
those are
absolutely
kind
nothing.
of elite troops. Those are troops because those are some of the survivors from the apocalypse. Okay. And these two, those are troops. And the Spartans in particular are elite troops. They are very strong, very resistant. They do good damage. They can protect. They can throw, but they're not very numerous. You only have 3 of them.
Well, considering there was only ever 300 of them.
In this world, I'm guessing each one's probably worth 100 men.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look at this then. So what are we looking at here, Leo?
We are looking at the Hell Warriors.
Yeah.
The Hell Warriors are some monsters that escaped, and they are troops, and they can do something whenever they are less than full. One will come back from hell.
Yes.
Okay.
These things are going to be a real grind to actually get rid of. If you're going to go for them, go all out or don't go at all.
Yeah, that's right.
The sculpts on them are really, really nice. And again, we do actually have a painted version here as well. So you can see this.
This one was painted by Vlad. Vlad Lion, or Lion, who is another painter. Well, it's worth mentioning that he paints purely with, how do you call that?
Brush
airbrush?
or airbrush?
Airbrush, yes, airbrush.
They're just gorgeous. On the tabletop, how are we expecting these guys to play with being so tough? Are they just that brick wall that you're going to send in to hold up your opponent?
Well, they're troops, so they're not that resistant.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just a little bonus they have, but troops cannot compare to any hero or monsters or gods. Okay.
Okay. Well, Athena.
Yes.
Athena. Yes.
Yeah.
Athena is the wisest of all gods, so she'll bring you a lot of Art of War cards to your deck.
Yeah.
And she is the best at boosting troops and the morale. She will coordinate her troops like no one.
Yeah.
And she has two special powers. One is her owl, her giant owl, who is part of her actually. She can send it to attack at a distance, and she will just pick the enemies.
Yes.
It's always interesting. It doesn't cost you any Art of War card. It's just a free attack. And then she has the strategist power, and this allows her to activate 3 troops, including her. Well, 3 units.
Yeah.
Which is very powerful.
That is powerful. That is powerful because to try and do that, well, it wouldn't be possible. You could activate maybe 2 with your with an additional Art of War card. So it wouldn't be possible to try and do it. But if it were, it would be seriously expensive to try and do it with your Art of War. So it's a very powerful.
Because you can do combos. You can activate 3 of your units. And then just try to focus. You can focus your attacks on one single unit and maybe kill it. Or you could do something else, like send troops to get Amphalos and bring them back to her, and then absorb. You see.
It also highlights something that that very much came across in the game that we played, and that was a sense of balance. In that the gods, it didn't really matter which one you picked, because they were balanced in what they could do, but what they could do was so different. It was so flavorful, that the gods' personalities just popped. Even though as part of the draft, you were maybe pulling monsters and stuff like that into it. You always felt that flavor of the gods, the god that was there. You always felt that this is Zeus controlling and pushing forward and attacking, and it is epic in that sense. Absolutely epic.
The gods are not as powerful in everything, but they are very, very balanced, as you said. They just play differently. So there will not be one god that brings you victory. Any can do it, but they play differently.
You see, it's one of the things that jumps out about this game before anything else. Every time you start a game, you're playing from that draft position.
Yeah.
So you'll pick your god, fair enough. You might have your favorite. But as soon as that's done, it's that madcap dash to see who's getting the different units to actually play with and actually try out the different tactics and synergies that it work with.
It is a wonderful dynamic, I've got to say, and one that we haven't often seen in miniature gaming. But certainly the whole draft approach where I pick, you pick, you pick, you pick. It's worth actually mentioning at this point that it can be played as a 2-player game up to a 4-player game, and in between as well. So you can have you could have 2 players, 3 players, or 4 players. We played with 4 players.
Yeah, and we played 2v2. But there's nothing to say you couldn't play free for all.
Oh, you could play free for all. Absolutely, you could play free for all, and that's
a lot of fun.
And there's also a second way of playing. It's the campaign mode, which is more we haven't played, but which is more narrative, more storytelling, and you will see your heroes or god evolve from scenario to scenario.
Yes.
And so it tells a story. It usually plays on different maps, and you don't necessarily draft. It depends on what kind of scenario you play, but it's a different feeling. It's more RPG than this one. But
there's a question then. We've seen this particular map, right? And this is a nice section of the world. You've got some ruins. You've got some forests in there. Are we expecting to see a lot of maps for this to actually change up where you're playing?
We'll have several maps. To start with, we'll have 2 maps, and then if we unlock them, we'll have more that will be added to the core box.
Yeah.
And then we'll have maps in the supplements. We've planned a lot of different maps with different, and it plays completely different, and the feeling is very different. This one is very good. It has a big variety, and it favors melee combat.
Yes.
Well, the Styx River it's more difficult to walk. You have more zones, and it will be better for a distance,
Yeah.
And then you have some other maps with special rules that you will have to play with. For instance, in the Styx, if you are in the Styx River, you cannot use your powers nor your talents. So you can stay there, but it's very dangerous. You see.
Yeah.
For instance, in another map, you are on the palace, and underneath that is the labyrinth. So when you're on top, you have a bonus, and you can see everything. If you have the climbing ability, you can climb to the top to the palace as you want. If you do not have, you have to go through the edges to climb and to the ruins. You see.
Nice.
So even the very environments that you're creating have the narrative and stuff like that built into them to suggest.
That's what we try to.
Yeah.
Hearing about the River Styx, I just imagine throwing people into it the whole time, just going, nope, no powers for you.
Well, that's a great. That absolutely is a tactic, because you do have the ability to throw people and objects and stuff like that. So if somebody is causing a lot of hassle, you get in there
Shove
and
them
you hope
in
you
and
get
just
it off.
bundle in.
Throw him in. Right, continuing our journey of the artwork, who have we got here?
We've got Leonidas, the king of the Spartans, the king of the 300 Spartans, and we have a Hell Judge.
Yeah.
That is not in the core box, but that will be released during the Kickstarter.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Okay,
let's have a look at Leonidas.
So we've got his unpainted version and painted version.
Just look at that.
The actual motion that is captured in this miniature is fantastic, because it's kind of that sort of moment from the movie where the helmet is heavy,
Yeah.
so he removes it and chucks the spear, and then
Leo,
when you see him paint it,
I want an army of them. It's just, as Spartans go, just look at it. Oh, come on. It's so
your
beautiful.
sculptors have done amazing work on this, and the weapons are
Look
that
at the
nice
muscular
battle-worn.
in the legs, and
See, I'm looking at the battle damage and stuff that you're seeing in the shield here.
Yeah.
Because that's not something that's painted on, that's sculpted in.
Yeah.
And it's having details like that actually make the characters feel alive when they're on the tabletop to me. Absolutely gorgeous.
Moving on, we have the Minotaur.
Okay.
Now, this miniature is just going to blow you away. But I also want to find out a little bit about what he can do in game. So, Leo, what can we expect from this guy?
You can expect him to charge.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to say that.
So when he charges, everything that is in his way will be attacked.
Yeah.
Okay, including his allies.
Oh, so he hits friends as well as foes.
Yes. And he has the bloodthirst power, which means when he hits hard, he hits harder.
Yeah.
So he can re-roll dice for every 5 he rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's just absolutely extraordinary. Next up, we have this one. These are the Hellhounds.
Oh yes.
Okay. Now we have even got the sculpts of the Hellhounds as well. So where do you check these out? Because they are just terrifying.
Dynamite,
aren't they?
Absolute dynamite. And on the tabletop, I got to play with these, and these things are annoying as hell. Because I actually sent a full pack of these in against Hades.
Yeah.
And actually managed to hurt him with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's not that gods are so overpowered that your regular units can't hurt them.
Yeah.
You can hurt them, they're just unlikely to kill them.
Yeah.
And with the abilities that these guys had, it sort of gave them that extra buff to actually want to go after him.
Mm-hmm.
So the tactical choices you're seeing in this game really just make playing certain tactics worthwhile. And when you see them painted as well, they just have that real dark, desiccated sort of undead look to them, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Next up, who have we got here?
Oh,
Ares, the god of war.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a psychopath. He's very powerful. He's the most powerful god in melee combat.
Mm-hmm.
But he's tough to control, and he can hit his own troops. But he's fast and furious.
So he could effectively, if he was in a zone, just start swooshing around the zone and end up even hurting or killing his own.
Yes.
There's a certain bloodthirstiness to this character.
Yeah.
This is the god I got to play in the game we played off camera.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing him rock into Hades, go nuts, and then unfortunately have Cerberus jump in front going, no, not today.
Just look at the detail on the shield. And
Well, it's the shield, but it's also the motion that's been captured as well, and
Yeah.
the cape. You know, it looks as if he's charging forward. It looks as if he's in motion. And it's just fantastic.
once again, you know, when you bring the painted miniature in, let me give you a sense of scale here. Just look at it.
Yeah.
You know, it's to be a Greek god, and you want to know something cool? They're not even the biggest things in this game. So, but that paint job is just wonderful, isn't it?
Gorgeous, gorgeous. And the character in game is just so much fun to play. Has such a great flavor. It feels like the God of War. You know, it feels like this guy is not going to stop until he has cut off the head of his opponents.
Yeah.
You know, at least that's the sort of sense I'm getting from it.
Now, if I had to guess, this has got to be Hercules, is it?
Absolutely. No. We call him the Greek way, which is Heracles.
Heracles.
But Heracles is the Roman, the Greek Hercules.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get a look at his model.
Yeah.
And I know a little bit of what he can do in game. This is the guy who can start chucking trees and big concrete blocks and things.
His cost is 4.
Yeah.
So that means he's as costy as Hydra or Cerberus, which means he's as powerful as those two guys. Okay, he's the strongest character in the world in the game. Well, apart from the gods, of course. So he hits extremely hard, and he's hard to wound also. And he has some abilities, as you said. He can toss trees and ruins and columns and all the pieces of terrain. So that gives him a ranged attack.
Well, it's kind of what I expect from the character, because he's a demigod, essentially.
Yeah.
So, yes, I can see exactly why he is in with the monstrous creatures. But it's that sense of the heroism of Hercules that you're catching from this, because he's that quintessential archetype for a barbarian.
Well, I'm just in love with this piece of art. I take it that's a Titan in the background that he's
that not
knocked
Hydra?
over.
Hydra.
What is it? Is it Hydra? Yeah. Oh, just look at it. It's just amazing. So it's okay. So next up, we have this one here, which is the Hydra.
Yes.
So the Hydra comes in the starter box, yes?
Yes, it is fully assembled. Also, okay. You could also show the size difference.
Yep. So let's
because it's interesting to see.
Yeah, it feels like a monster. It feels like a monster. What else can you say?
Again, let me see if I can get it zoomed in a little bit so you can see a bit more of the detail in the flesh. Just look at it. Now this the Hydra again has multiple attacks and can regenerate. Its rules just scream Hydra.
And it's funny. It's interesting to say. Well, on land, he doesn't go fast. He only moves 1. But when he's in water, he will move 2. He's a water creature. Hydra comes from the Greek, which means water.
Yeah.
Oh, it's glorious. I want to actually see how this guy plays out on the tabletop to actually see some of the monstrous attacks that this thing can do.
Yeah. Now, next up, who have we got here?
We've got the Amazon. Actually, Amazons, because there are 4 of them. They are troops.
And how do they play?
They play. They have ranged attacks, so they are troops that can attack up to 2 zones away, which is very interesting. They also are very agile.
Yeah.
They can climb anywhere, so that means they can climb to the top of this rock.
Of pieces of terrain.
Yes, and then attack from a distance, and they ignore light of sight, and they have +1 range when they are there. They also have the initiative skill, which allows them to attack before. When you attack them, they will make an attack before you do.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is one of the mechanics that we saw in our game, which is whenever you're actually in melee combat, the person being attacked can actually pay in an activation card to attack back. So I'm guessing they get to do that before.
Exactly.
Bingo.
You got it. That's exactly it.
Very useful.
Yeah. Next up, we have, I believe this is Hades himself.
Yes.
So we
God
have
of the underworld.
We have the miniature of Hades. So we'll get a look at this.
It's got that real dark creepiness, and then the detail work that they've done on this shield. Look at that.
Oh, I know, isn't it?
Oh, it's gorgeous. I keep saying it. But it is gorgeous. And then we have the painted version. Oh, lovely. With all that nice verdigris work on it. This was the one that you played in the game we played off camera, Warren. How did you find him?
Lovely. Lovely.
What did you like about him?
He was as resilient as hell. He really was resilient. Ultimately, I ended up losing it for my team because I did decide to just run Hades in to every bit of danger I could. I did do a Leroy Jenkins, I gotta say. But he was just fabulous. The thing for me about this game is it's incredibly impressive, the completeness of what we've seen and what this Kickstarter is no doubt going to unlock. And its desirability, I've got to say, comes from its completeness. Because if it was just 1 or 2 models being released at a time, it would be hard to fathom just exactly what this game is capable of. But to have it produced in this manner, to be so complete potentially from day one, it just ramps the coolness factor up to 11. Because suddenly you're visualizing the whole aspect of what you can play with this, and I just have been blown away. The game mechanics themselves, there are some beautiful ones. Would you see the playthrough? Just how it works, things like even the dice mechanic, which I could give a quick demonstration of here because it is fundamental to the game, and I think one of the most interesting aspects of it. So
Hades can regenerate when any time a unit dies on the.
That's right. As things were dying, Hades was automatically regenerating and drawing extra cards. So as stuff was dying, whether he killed it or not, as stuff was dying, he was getting stronger. But let's pull a couple of miniatures just to demonstrate the dice mechanics.
Let's go for one of the most classic things in the mythology. Hercules fighting Cerberus. Right?
Okay.
So I'll give you the stat card for Cerberus.
Okay.
I'll take the stat card for Hercules. Oh,
now,
wrong one.
On the stat card, these are just prototype stat cards, but I'll just show you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the attack here, which is 8 dice for Cerberus, and then I compare that with Justin's shield.
So that's going to be an 8 that you're going to need to actually do damage to Hercules.
Okay, so the shield one is the second one down, so I need 8s. Now you wonder, how am I going to get 8s on D6s? And the great thing about these D6s is they're not even D6 because they have 5 sides because they have a blank side, and then they go from 1 to 5. Okay? So the way this works is I'm going to take my 8 dice.
Yep.
So 2, 4,
yep,
6, and 8. I'm going to roll them. So let me just... Okay. Now, 5s, you automatically get to roll again and then to add the result to them to try and take them up to that 8 or 9. If you roll them again and you get a blank, it wipes it out and it no longer counts. Everything else, so I have 3 5s there so far, okay? In the rest of them, I have a 1, a 2, I have a blank, and another couple of 2s. So what I can do is I have to remove the blank because it no longer counts, okay?
Yep.
I can take a 2 and I could add these to the 2. But once I do that, they only count as 1. What's on them doesn't matter anymore. So that would be a 2, 3, 4, 5, which would turn that into another 5.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, I could say I need an 8 to do damage on him. So I could go 5, 6, 7, 8, and I know I'm guaranteed 1 piece of damage already, and then I could roll the other 2 to see if I can get that through.
And this one that's left over sits to the side.
It sits to the side, and it can be used as a 1 to add. So let's do this. I'm guaranteed 1 piece of damage, okay?
Yep.
With this. I'm going to re-roll the other 2 5s now to see... Oh, so I have a 6 now with this one, and this one unfortunately came up blank, so it no longer counts. The 6, I get to add 1 more to it, which would have made it a 7, which is not enough. So I only get to make 1 piece of damage. Let me describe how fundamentally awesome this dice mechanic is. At first, you might want to watch that a couple of times or watch the playthrough, but you might be looking at that and going, "Hang on a second, that's kind of complicated."
Really not.
It's not really once you get the hang of it. But what it does, it suddenly takes what is effectively luck of dice rolls and gives you almost like godlike powers over the dice. And this, we just came away from this going, the power that this gives you, because you can effectively, you know that with any roll, there's a fairly good chance that you'll be able to unleash some real damage, okay? Because you'll maybe get a 5 and then you can add some of the rest to it to reach that mark. However, should you decide, you can reconfigure your dice in a different way and say, well, actually, I'm going to put it to the luck of the dice gods to be able to do 2, 3, 4 times the amount of damage.
Yeah, or you can do what you did, which was like what, roll 5 5s and get blanks?
Yeah, I had 5 5s, and then I thought, I'm just going to roll them all again. I'm feeling good about this, and I rolled 5 blanks.
It was beautiful.
but this is trickery. This is levels of influence.
It lets you strategize your dice,
which is really, really strange, isn't it? Because you're
feels
there.
Good.
It does. It gives you that sense of a layer of additional control, a layer of additional influence in the game. Yeah. That I haven't actually. I've never experienced that. No, the mechanic may exist elsewhere. I have never seen it, but that additional layer of influence that you can bring to bear is just so satisfying. It really is. That even if you do take the chance and you roll the 5 blanks, as I did, you just think to yourself, well, I was a god. I was trying to do godlike things.
It
and
adds
this
that
happens.
heroism to the dice. You know, the dice are no longer just the mechanic of random chance saying, will I do this?
Yes.
It's that heroism of going, nope, you are going to die this turn, roll!
It is an absolutely fabulous mechanic. You guys have been play testing this a lot.
Hundreds of times, including hundreds of public demos everywhere in France, even at Gen Con, and for the first time here in the UK. But yes.
Well,
yes.
I was actually quite proud of the game we played off camera because we managed to do something that you had never ever seen before.
Absolutely, yes. It was the first time that on one side you had all the troops, and on the other sides no troops at all because there were none left. Right?
Yeah, myself and Lloyd just picked the big beasties.
I don't know. I was kind of strategizing, going, I'm gonna buy all this cheap stuff to deny you any synergies.
Because usually people will pick the big creatures or the big heroes, and you started with the troops.
Yeah.
And no one does that. And you started with troops, and then you prevented him from using his Leonidas because Leonidas needs troops, but they were no longer
available.
Yeah.
That was just
strategy.
amazing.
He claims it was strategy.
No, I was actually
Justin, you never really know. Really.
No. Whenever I took Ares, the God of War, I thought, right, I want a Spartan flavor to my warband.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, Lloyd came to choose a unit before me, and he took Leonidas.
Yes.
And I was just going, right, I am not missing out on the other Spartan stuff. I'm going to take that unit and that unit, job done.
Yeah, very strategic. Very strategic.
It still worked.
However, for me, it was simply a case of I wanted a Hydra, I wanted a Cerberus, because I had Hades, and I don't believe I even got the Cerberus and the Hydra onto the table because I was too busy running around with Hades trying to kick ass.
You got the Cerberus down, the Hydra walked onto the table and just calmly sat back, sipping a cup of tea, watching the mayhem unfold.
Sipping many cups of tea.
Multiple cups of tea, just going, this is an interesting day.
I did do a Leroy Jenkins with my god, but you know, that's what gods are for. Right, let's move on. We have the legendary Medusa here.
Yes.
Now, Medusa was on the tabletop. Medusa has a fabulous special rule as well, where she's able to petrify. And she petrified my Hades, who stayed petrified for quite some time. He was basically turned to stone, but he could still be attacked. So what I found was my enemy basically hacking away at my stone god until he gradually reduced him to nothing.
To make it topple. It worked.
So here we have the miniature itself.
Well, I mean, like on the tabletop, having that ability to petrify people, but also having the same ability to actually, in the same activation, move in, petrify, and then attack, makes her incredibly painful at times for other opponents. Like, whenever we were doing the draft, I was looking at her going, oh, who's going to take it? Who's going to be doing this nasty, nasty trick? But at the end of the day, it's not a game-breaking mechanic because you were able to eventually actually get Hades unpetrified.
Oh, yeah.
When he was about to die.
One of the other interesting things about Medusa is, and it gives us an opportunity to talk a little bit about terrain, is Medusa can quite freely slither up terrain. So, let's take a moment to talk about terrain because you're doing something very, very interesting. We have the table, the game board here, and we have some terrain on the actual game mat. Now, this terrain is just proxy representative stuff.
Yeah.
But it can obviously be played as a board game without terrain. And your line of sight and stuff like that is dictated by what's on the actual board.
Yeah.
However, there's a whole additional level that you can add, which brings it even more into the sphere of our miniatures games, where you can add terrain to those spots. And then suddenly the characters can interact with that terrain. So where there might be a forest, so let me see if, so there might be a forest, Hercules could in effect lift that tree and chuck it at somebody. And then there's no forest there anymore. So now tell us a little bit about the terrain, because it's something that potentially will come further down the line through through stretch goals in the Kickstarter.
In the core box, you have to assemble a cardboard terrains, you know. But if we unlock them, then we'll add some 3D plastic terrain, and we might even do something special.
Yeah.
The terrain is optional. You can play with or without it. If you play with it, you can only have terrain on the zone representing this terrain.
Yeah.
Okay. And they all add some little rules. Anytime you have a terrain or a miniature, the whole area blocks line of sight.
Yeah.
This is the first rule. The second rule is each terrain gives an extra little rule. For instance, if you are in the forest, you get a +1 to your defense against ranged attacks. If you are, as I said, on top of a, well, he wouldn't be able because he doesn't have the climbing ability, but he has.
Pull a mountain across
yes,
here,
yes.
so that we can see it. So
Achilles has the climbing ability. When you're on top there, you have a +1 to your range. So you have +1 attack, and you ignore line of sight. Okay, so this is interesting. And when you are in ruins,
this out the way, we'll bring in some ruins. So when you're in the ruins,
yes, when you're in the ruins, you have +1 defense against melee attack. So you hide behind the column, and you see, and you get. So,
and again, Hercules can chuck those runes at people. I can't stress enough how cool this is. It's just, you know, we talk about cinematic moments. You know, sometimes one of the issues I have with board games is the level of abstraction becomes so high that that we miss the thing that we love about miniatures gaming is the cinematicness of it all. This just has it in spades. It has the simplicity of a board game. It has the vibe of a board game, but it also has that draft aspect from your favorite kind of card games. But for me, adding the terrain and the ability to throw people and terrain and monsters and stuff around, it just really brings it to life. Right. We have some very special artwork now that I want to start cycling through just as we discuss it.
This is not part of the core box. So
we're now starting to get into potential expansions and stretch goals and things here.
Yes. And I won't tell if it's a stretch goal or an add-on. All I can tell you is this is a small titan, and his name is Prometheus.
Oh, just look at him though. The artwork is just insane in this game.
But it's capturing the essence of what the character was in the old myths. Because, you know, he was the man who stole fire and gave it to humanity. You know,
well, he actually even created men out of clay, you know, or mud or something, hence his hands. He created humans that looked like gods. He gave them the god, kind of god appearance. And then he gave them freedom with fire. And so that pissed off the gods a lot, you know, especially Zeus. So he was punished. He was chained on a rock, and an eagle, the Caucasian eagle, would eat his liver every morning, you know. But now it's a different story. Now he's free, and he's back here, and he can get revenge. So.
Now, if you thought the game was cool played on land, where do you see what's happening in the oceans? This has got to be my favorite artwork and character in the entire game. Who is this? I'm just in love.
This is Scylla. This is Scylla.
Absolutely terrifying. That expression on the face is just magnificent. It has that I am completely unhinged. You know, it is absolutely fabulous.
But it's that knowledge that humanity is her plaything.
Yeah.
You know,
well, humanity is her plaything. You know, let's just get a sense of scale here by looking at this piece of artwork. You know, it's like, and again, that expression in the face, that
oh, hello, little human, I'm going to have fun today.
All I can hear in my head is, hello, sailor. But look at it. It is just incredible.
Glorious, yeah.
When you see this on the tabletop, it's going to be insane. Absolutely insane. Next up, look at that.
You have Hercules, or Heracles, and Achilles, and you have Geryon. a three-headed giant.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
Monster or Titan?
Monster.
Monster. Okay.
So we're really going to be looking at a whole different scale for Titans then.
Look at
This
that.
is Chiron. Look at the
Yeah. Just a beautiful, beautiful piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who taught Achilles or Hercules a lot. Oh, this is Ajax. Ajax from the Troy War.
Yep.
The Trojan War. He's a friend of Achilles, and he's like this great warrior using a hammer.
I'm just blown away by this. You know, it looks like you've really encapsulated what the character is. And it's
Here we
just
have
great.
another map.
Yeah, the map for the River Styx. Well, the underworld, the entrance to the underworld.
Yeah. So you can actually see the water flowing down.
And the
here,
ferryman's boat just
Yeah.
sitting here abandoned, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I doubt if he's going to be working anymore.
Venturing deeper underground, just look at that.
Oh.
What is that?
This is one of the three hell judges.
Yeah.
This one is Minos.
Look at the actual, souls just trapped in the iron belly of the beast there. Oh, gorgeous. What else do we have, Warren?
Here we have the spider lady.
Arachne.
Yeah.
She was turned into a monster by a jealous goddess.
This story sounds quite familiar to me for most of it.
It just, again, just the depth of the artwork. Now watch this one. Just look at that.
Manticore.
Yeah, Manticore. And then a final piece of art just to absolutely blow you away. Have a look at the expression on this guy. Who's this?
This is Oedipus. Yeah, this is Oedipus, and yeah, I love this piece of art particularly. It looks like almost a classic painting. You know?
It does.
And it was done by a very talented guy called Guillem Pongilupi. You will hear about him soon. He's done a lot of artwork for us.
Yeah.
And Oedipus is a very interesting guy. You know, he killed the Sphinx, so you can imagine that the Sphinx could be there too.
Yeah.
And he's clever, so he's very good at against monsters. And he has a very.
I'm very fortunate in here in Beasts of War that we have been given some access. So I can assure you right now that everything that you have seen here is only scratching the surface of where this game can potentially head.
There's one thing I want to show here which I don't want us to miss, okay?
Okay.
There's an exclusive coming with this Kickstarter. For those of you who know it, which is this, Leo?
The Nemean lion. The Nemean lion is the lion that Hercules killed, and he got
the honey.
and he got his hide on, you know.
Yes, because no weapon could pierce his
Yes,
hide.
yes, he's one of the most difficult beasts to wound. You know, he's incredibly resistant, just as resistant as Achilles. And you should show his size.
Yeah. It's just fantastic. But then whenever you look at it compared to Hercules himself, you can imagine, Hercules could take that on.
Hercules would have a go. Yeah.
They're just so gorgeous. And I mean, like, having something like this, painters out there are just going to love working on these miniatures because of all the fantastic detail, all of the motion, and, those sort of snapshots of heroic moments that have been caught in this.
So let me give you an indication of the gameplay from my perspective before you go and watch the demo game. It all starts with this inevitable draft, unless you're playing in the campaign mode. But the draft is brilliant. You're going to love it. So during the draft, you're picking your heroes, you're picking your monsters, you're picking your gods. And each of them comes with their own cards that go into the overall deck. And that creates your activation deck. So your characters will activate based on you drawing cards into your hand. And that creates this sense of, because I did find myself with a whole pile of Hydra cards, when really what I wanted was Cerberus and the cards for my god. So there is a real interesting unknown aspect to just how things are going to activate, but you're not at the total mercy of randomness. You're filling up a hand. Your hand can grow to be whatever size you want it to be, which means that as the game goes, you start to develop more flexibility. In fact, there is a moment in the game when things completely escalate. Whenever the first player gets to their last card, every other player can lift their remaining cards, and that's that sense of escalation, because suddenly there is no problem starting to spend your Art of War cards and things like that there. So the whole game escalates. That dice mechanic just opens up this connection between you and the game in a way that I haven't felt with other games, where even the very dice themselves can be manipulated by your evil mind. It is great. And from the perspective of where this game goes, if you're a fan of organized play, I think you're going to absolutely adore this game. I think you're going to absolutely adore it. It is fabulous. What's your hopes for where this might go? So people now, if they haven't already, they're itching to get on the Kickstarter, okay? Where potentially could this go?
Well, we are really prepared for this Kickstarter. We've been working on it for a year and a half, almost 2 years, and we wanted to have everything done, like all sculpts done, all art, everything. You've seen a few pieces of art.
Yes.
And the miniatures.
And miniatures.
The amount of art in this game is just going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
So what we are hoping is that we will unlock lots of stretch goals.
Yeah.
And in a game like this is it's not just adding something else, it's adding more choice to your draft, because the more minis or more units you have, the wider choice you have.
This draft mechanic is just so interesting.
It turns the meta on its head. So instead of someone going away, working out what is the absolute best and strongest, it's a dash to see who gets what they're after to pull off their tactics.
Yeah.
So you don't have that person who's just going to work out the ultimate list and get it every time.
Yeah, it's such an obvious mechanic of the game that has been to great effect in the likes of Magic the Gathering and other card games. But whenever you build it into a miniatures game, it was like, why have we not been doing this? It's like it's just, but it requires a game of this type to do that.
So with the stretch goals we hope to unlock, we'll have different ones. We could unlock new units, as I said, so new gods, new monsters, new heroes, new troops. But we can also unlock new maps that will be added on to the core box. We can unlock some pieces of terrain. Okay. We can unlock some other funny things I can't say right now.
Secrets.
He's being evil now. He's being evil.
And we also have some expansions that we worked on, and we worked on really well. You've seen something with the ocean, so you can imagine that something could come with this.
I'm hoping Poseidon survived the war.
I'm not gonna tell, but and yes, and some surprises. What we are going to do with this Kickstarter, we want it to be a show.
Yeah.
We want it to tell stories. So we will tell stories. We will give background, and something will happen during the Kickstarter so that people get excited, and then we will introduce some new mechanics or some new way of playing and during the Kickstarter.
So you have entertainment awaiting you, folks. Leo, I've got to say, look, thank you so much for calling into the studio and bringing it in. We have had a blast, guys. We've played it. When you see the demo game, it is quite frankly a wonderful game. It's a wonderful game. The sculpts and the miniatures have been wonderfully executed. You've just got to try it. Leo, look, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you,
Right,
Justin.
we'll be right back after we tell you about some hubs.
Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastsofwar.com. Fight for the Iron Kingdoms as a warcaster. Take control of the mighty jacks, arcane devices, and dark sorceries to bring the fight to the War Machine Hub on beastsofwar.com.
And welcome back. If you enjoyed that, join us tomorrow morning over at beastsofwar.com for what is going to be, I'm sure, an epic battle between me and you. The gauntlet. I'm just
not the face.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
And if you haven't already, consider signing up to Backstage. For goodness sake, we come here every week to entertain you. Come to Backstage and you can get some extra entertainment. Yeah, I think I said, yeah, join Backstage. We have a load of amazing stuff in there, and we could really do with your help. Every single one of you guys that hops on Backstage basically unlocks our ability to do more. It means that we can get more people involved. It means that we can get more equipment. It just, so as well as just keeping us running, the more of you that we can get involved, and it's less than the cost of a coffee. For an entire month, so less than one coffee for an entire month, you get extra content all the way through the month. You get the Reroll magazine that will be coming out next week. Also, this is issue 3 we're on now, and it's been a lot of fun putting it together. We have a ton of stuff, and every single one of you who can, just find it in your hearts to join that Backstage community. You wouldn't believe what you can unlock for us to be able to do.
Also,
yeah.
One of the most important things for me anyway is Backstagers get first bite at boot camps.
Yes. I keep forgetting about that one. And we have some cracking boot camps lined up for next year. If you fancy that, remember, Backstagers do get first opportunity to get into the boot camps. Right. We have a Kickstarter we want to tell you about, and then we have a great little sit-down chat between Justin and Alessio Cavatori. Alessio is going to be filling us in on a load of stuff he's doing, but if you were just wondering what this little white tip was here, this is one of the things that Alessio's going to be talking about.
Yeah, I got one of those too.
This is the 17-pounder that Alessio has endowed me with.
Yep.
Absolutely fabulous. So if you want to know more about the 17-pounders, be sure to stay tuned to the end of the show till we talk to Alessio.
Well, you've got the 3 options, because you've got this, which is a Sherman shell.
Oh, is that a Sherman shell?
That's a Sherman shell. That's a Tiger shell.
That's an 88.
Yep, that's a round from an 88. So you can sort of see the size difference.
Yeah.
And that, I believe, is from the Sherman 17-pounder anti-tank gun.
Yes, absolutely. All 17 pounds of badass. It's a little deflated. Justin, I might need you to blow on this a bit later on. So this,
maybe.
Right, okay. Right, so stay tuned till we get Alessio on, because he's got tons of stuff to talk about. Before all of that.
Yes.
Ben. It's time for the magical head to enlighten us about a Kickstarter.
Okay, yeah, so we're going to be looking at Gnomes and Associates, which is by Happy Games Factory. Now, you might remember these guys are the people behind Eden and things like that.
Yeah.
And this was a game that they designed because they were effectively tired of like shooing people away from their stand because all their games were adult. So they were like, let's get kids involved and let's do something crazy. So they've built this board game together, which is for between 2 and 4 players, as I say. Really good for families and kids and young gamers. Plays in about 60 minutes, and it's all about these trolls and gnomes and fairies and all these types of creatures from fantasy sort of background, trying to sort of take over and become the greatest guild in this place called Marvel Land. And it's an absolutely stunning Kickstarter with loads of amazing artwork. The miniatures look fantastic. They've got all that kind of nice quality that you would have assumed, with all the stuff that we've been seeing from Cool Mini-or-Not and things like that. So it's all really good on that side of things. The gameplay as well is nice and basic and very easy to play, but it's got a little bit of flexibility mixed in there as well, because there's sort of this basic mechanic in there really where you do 2 actions basically. You can move and attack, do a special ability and things like that, and then you can add in these extra things called these action cards that will sort of level things up for people if they want to sort of take it to the next stage with their kids and stuff. So really nice game that's got lots of different levels to it. Very good replayability and stuff as well. So,
if you stop right there, Justin, because the bit for me is look how cute the little dragons are.
Yeah, the baby dragons.
Little baby dragons. They are so cute. Yeah. I was looking at this with my little girl Savannah, and I was showing her, and she was going, "Oh!" And then, of course, when she goes, "Oh!" I then involuntarily go, "Oh!" So it is lovely.
Here's a better shot of them.
Yes.
The thing with the baby dragons is actually they're a addition to the game that makes it almost cooperative. Yeah. So you're all sort of actually working together to try and collect these dragons and stuff from the board, rather than it being everybody against everybody and stuff.
Oh, please let them get that unlocked. please let them get out unlocked, because anything that takes a board game to cooperative, I was preaching about this last week when I was talking about Pandemic Legacy. I'm now firmly of the opinion cooperative board games are by far the best family board games you can get.
Well, interestingly as well, that one of the other additions to this game is that they're actually making it sort of compartmentalized in different ways. So obviously we've said there's the everybody working together one, there's the everybody versus everybody, and there's also actually going to be sort of more of an overlord style one as well, so it could be one versus a group. The other thing as well that's really great about this is that all the different factions have an asymmetry to them, so it starts to teach you at a younger age about all these different types of abilities and things for all the different creatures in there. So the trolls may work a certain different way, and the other guys, the fairies, might work certain differently as well. So really nice stuff in there in terms of sort of learning that side of gaming, I guess. And also like the victory conditions and all the objectives they have to do are all very different on top of that. So every time you're playing, you'll start to learn to the best ways to deal with a certain guild and stuff as well. So there's quite a lot of depth in this, considering it's a game for children and families. So lots of things to get excited about with this one.
Well, what's not to like? Beautiful art direction.
Yep.
Interesting and varied mechanics.
Yep.
And cute baby dragons. Oh.
It's actually really interesting to see the departure from the the dark and gritty world of Eden to something so bright and clean. It's really, really nice to see them trying this.
It's also hammering another thing home. I think the French are trying to dominate the world of gaming here. Okay, but Conan, Mythic Battles, these guys. Yeah. Do you know what I think we're seeing? I think we're seeing that all those guys who were previously involved in Rackham are now all banding together and saying, it's our turn to take over the miniature gaming world again. And I think it's lovely, because they just have that amazing flair for doing it. So.
Well, when I was talking with these guys about this Kickstarter, they were saying this is effectively our way of saying, here are what miniatures are to young gamers. Now you can go and elevate yourself to a new level and play a different game as well. So it's basically trying to recruit loads of people into that world.
Yeah. Get them when they're young.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. We're going to close the show now. I'm going to leave Justin to harass Alessio Cavatori and to tell us just exactly what is going on in the world of Riverhorse. It's been an absolute pleasure being here with you this morning. Remember, tomorrow, the demo game. The big battle, me versus him.
All right, fists up.
Me versus him in Mythic Battles. It's a game definitely not to miss. Right, it's a pleasure as always. Go and have a lovely day. And until next week, have a great week of gaming.
In a world controlled by massive corporations, a steady aim and split-second decisions are needed for your megacon to complete its goals. Begin your missions at the Mercs Hub on beastsofwar.com. It's time for 28mm World War II action. Will you recreate history or reshape it your way? On the Bolt Action Hub at beastsofwar.com.
Hi everybody, so I'm joined in the studio via Skype by Alessio, and it's time to catch up on what's been happening with Riverhorse. So Alessio, how are things over with you?
Hi. We've been very, 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 very busy. Yes, it's really frantic. I suppose cool, but just the last few months has gone in a blur, really. So many things, so many projects. Where to start? Where would you like me to start?
Well, what's happening with Labyrinth?
Labyrinth. Basically, there's two big ships on the sea. One is going from the Far East, from China to the UK. One is going from China to the US. On board such boats, there are lots of Labyrinth games, lots more than we thought we were going to make, which is great news. Caused a little bit of delay, I suppose, in the sheer quantity, but it's very exciting. And the ships are on their way. They are scheduled to arrive, well, in a week, week, 10 days, depending on the vagaries of international shipping and stuff.
Let's not make promises on the tides.
Sorry?
Let's not make promises on the tides, huh?
No, indeed. Well, we've been told early November arrival, so yeah, touch wood. What could possibly go wrong? Let's start with what could possibly go wrong.
Touch wood.
Exactly. But so very exciting. And of course, we have received via airmail
Ooh.
A few of these.
Shiny.
So actually, we could smell them, open them, and let me show you.
Oh, that's looking great, man.
Oh yes, this is not supposed to fall in there, of course, because I've opened it. I've opened it already.
Of course, you couldn't resist.
Let me do a little bit of unboxing. Very quick unboxing. So I remove the lid. The miniatures are in their velvety tray.
Yeah, I was just looking at the camera, wondering if that's velvety. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's a nice and elegant velvet tray. Then in the lid, sorry, in this hole here, you have the character sheets, which again are we're very happy with the quality. I mean, the artwork is fantastic, nice and crisp.
Yeah.
And so character sheets, and then the 3 apps. Sorry, the 3 apps? No, I meant the stand-ups. Stand-up cardboard bits.
Yeah.
The cards, the playing cards. The labyrinth cards with all the creatures,
nice.
the worm, etc., and the special ability cards. The bag of dice. The bag of classic pre-horse dice. The L counters, sea of counters, from the willpower counters to the one that is good for Warren, I suppose. The smell bad counter.
Yeah.
And then we have that's the first bit, and then you, using this conveniently crafted hole, you lift the tray,
and then everything
and there's
else.
the rest, which includes the
clock,
the goblin clock with the 13 hours. There you go. And then includes the humongous 3 apps and the rulebook, which again I think is quite pretty. If you open it, you get all sorts of nice images, etc. So it's
awesome.
It's not a lot of rules, but a lot of nice pictures. And finally, I suppose possibly my favorite, in the box you get the map, the board, the game board, which
looking great.
has the labyrinth with the playing areas. Let's see if I can zoom it a bit. There you go.
Looks great.
Yeah, we are absolutely happy, very, very happy, and frankly can't wait for these to arrive and to start shipping out to the people that bought it on pre-order, and to the shops and to the stores. Basically, distributors will then send to stores. So now, exciting times. A big amount of stuff, bigger than we've ever done. So great success, and thank you to everybody that really pre-ordered, and you guys for that video with Stephanie is still a great hit with people.
Yeah.
We must make a special Stephanie rule. So we have that labyrinth is very exciting. There are
anything coming in the future you can
right now on supplements that will include some more goblins like that one, or for example this one. Yes, or excellent. I don't know, there's the artillery piece, so to speak.
These are fantastic.
So Labyrinth, great.
Yeah, looking great, and I'm sure everybody over in the States and here in Europe is just chomping at the bit to get stuck in and start playing.
Yes, it's we're like that. We really want these things to arrive so we can, Right. So there's Labyrinth done. Other things. Why so easy? Well, there's an ongoing Indiegogo campaign for the Red October game. We just extended the length. We have some prototypes here, of course, so I'm gonna lift this thing and show you the prototype of the Red October campaign game here. So we have.
Wow.
If you can see it. We have the box, obviously, the map, which is obviously rendered like the screen they had on Bridge of the Enterprise during the movie. So 80s digital effect, including a DEFCON counter, a DEFCON level. Cards, where if you're familiar with the Waterloo game, these are similar in terms of the way they work. So they will give you options of things you can do depending on the hand you have. So you have the Soviet, you have the NATO ones, general cards, and a deployment map that gives you basically the two scenarios: the war scenario, where it's just basically kill each other in the North Atlantic, and here is the hunt for Red October scenario, where you're trying to stop the submarine getting to the American coast. And so counters again in the same, exactly the same symbols used in the movie. And yeah, we just extended the campaign, ongoing. If you're interested, please join us on Indiegogo.
Yeah, there'll be a link to the campaign in the post below, guys. So what else do we have here, Alessio?
Yeah, there's plenty. I mean, we're having recently quite some fun with these. I think you guys have. I sent you a couple of these.
I think so I might have one or two of those, kicking about.
A 75mm Sherman main tank gun, which obviously is dwarfed by the German 88mm. HE, which is fairly chunky, and then of course the British trumpet hole with the 17-pounder shell, which is ever so slightly bigger than the 88. And they all come in obviously inflatable beauty into these little boxes, which I guess you also have. Showing the main tanks that made use of them during the war. So that's I think we are selling, pushing, distributing at the moment. It just went out. And then I think you guys already did talk about this, and probably the thing we're most busy with at the moment is a lot of intense playtesting. And I'll show you some of the playtesting elements that have been. This is my daughter's character. She's a somersault flash at Earth Pony in Equestrian. And then of course we have unicorns, we have Pegasi. So, and lots of playtesting. Happy 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds playing the game. And grown-ups, I have to say. The rulebook, I mean, obviously this is just a working copy mock-up thing, but it gives you an idea of contents of the rulebook. A lot of poniness in there. A lot of I mean, it's familiar role-play stuff. It's like about creating your pony character. When you create your pony character, you choose between unicorns, Pegasi, and Earth ponies, and then you have effectively stats and alignments and rules, talents, and everything that go with the class, with the type of pony you are, etc. So I think I can show you some pretty pictures maybe to share with the audience. Sure. But it's a lot of fun, a lot of work, but a lot of fun. We are doing the rulebook, we are doing the first expansion, the second adventure set, dice, and tokens of friendship, which are little gems that you share to represent how much friendship you collected, and you can spend them. So yeah, that's big project. Hasbro are an amazing company to work with. I have to say that they're just awesome. They're just so supportive, and we have some original artwork done by Amy Meberson that's done a lot of the artwork for the show, which is amazing because you write an adventure, you populate it with pony, you created characters, etc., and then you saw it drawn by her, and you just go, it's the real thing.
Oh my god moment.
It's very exciting.
Okay, so we've covered Labyrinth, we've covered Red October, we've covered the My Little Pony role-playing game. Anything else happening with you guys?
Well, we are still progressing with the Hunger Games the board game. Some of the miniatures have been sculpted that are in approval, and there's another project we'll be working on, but we haven't announced yet.
Oh, what's this?
A couple of projects. There's a couple of projects that we haven't announced yet, which are being worked on. I will have to ask whether we can drop hints or not.
Well, I tell you what, when you know, you give me a shout and I'll get you back on the show to have a quick chat about them, alright, mate?
Yes, these are probably late 17 or early 18 type of stuff, but
Okay.
yes, I'll as soon as we decided we are going to break the news, of course, we'll be in touch.
Thank you very much. Well, it looks like everything is all go over at Riverhorse, Alessio. I tell you what, I'll let you get back to work here because you look as if you have tons and tons to get on with. So, everybody.
Yes, it's busy times.
Yeah, everybody, get your comments in below. What are you looking forward to coming out from Riverhorse? Are you looking forward to Red October? Don't forget, if you do want to jump in on the campaign, the link is in the show notes below. Myself and Alessio will move on here. We'll see you again another time.
Guys, bye.
Keep your blaster handy, the West is a dangerous place. Fight to survive as men turn to monsters and the dead rise on the Wild West Exodus Hub at beastsofwar.com. Humanity has been driven from Earth, but now it's time to take it back. Join the Reconquest and fight the Scourge on the Drop Zone Commander Hub at beastsofwar.com.